Hello my hungry fellow foodies, it's Chef Kevin, and tonight I'm making oxtail stew, French style. Now why is it French style? Because I'm using red wine, and I'm going to use a technique that the French use. It's called roasting the flour. I have 3 pounds of oxtail, red wine flour, little oil, butter, and homemade beef stock. I made that on my previous video. I'll put a link at the end of this one. This has so much seasoning in it. It has mushrooms, onions, garlic, rosemary, thyme, bay leaf, black pepper. Did I say garlic? Okay. It's just got so much flavor to it, it's unbelievable. It was made using bones from the cow neck, the chuck area. So it has all that meat flavor in it as well. So there's no need at this point to add any more vegetables to it. It already has enough seasoning. First thing I'm going to do is clean up these oxtails. Watch me. Okay, I have a pot here of cold water, and I have some apple cider vinegar. Pour a couple of tablespoons in there, and I'm going to clean up the meat, the oxtail. This will take any residue off the top of it, and not only that, but it opens up the pores of the meat and starts breaking down the bone as well. Now you don't have to use apple cider vinegar, you can use any type of vinegar. Voila, mes amis. Okay, I'm going to let that set 30 minutes or so. Dry them off and start searing them off. Okay, the oxtail are soaking away. What I'm going to do now is reduce my wine. This is 16 ounces of Merlot wine, red wine of course. And I'm going to reduce that to about half of that. Now what this does is it reduces it. It takes out the water, because I don't want the stew to be overly watery. And this also takes the alcohol content out. You do not want the alcohol flavor in your stew. You want the wine flavor. There you go, folks. Little fireworks show for you. Okay, now while the wine is reducing, I'm going to drain my oxtail and dry them down with paper towels. Now it's kind of hard to see in this situation, but there's like a little scum floating on top of the water and little bits and pieces of what looks like fat. So that's what I was just trying to do, is clean it up a bit. There was actually quite a lot of residual blood in the bottom of that container. So I get that all taken care of. You can see, or at least I hope you can see, that it's much lighter in color having them washed. Alright folks, I'm going to cook these, or I should say I'm going to start searing these off in a mixture of butter and oil. The butter keeps the oil from burning because it has a higher flash temperature. I only have one layer of oxtails in there. I don't want to double them up. I don't want them steaming. I want them to sear. This way the flavors will be trapped inside the oxtail. This won't take long, 3 to 4 minutes per side, and then I'll do the second batch. Okay folks, that's exactly what it should look like. It's nice and browned off, nicely seared off. Now I dumped the residual oil from the pot, and I also cleaned up, there were a few bits and pieces of like burnt fat, so I didn't want that to give it an off taste. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is take about a 1/4 cup of AP flour, all-purpose flour. Sprinkle it all over. Now I'm going to pop that under the broiler for about 5 minutes. And what that is going to accomplish is it's going to bring out the full flavor of the flour, because you're roasting it. It's going to have that nice, nutty flavor to it. I could have added the flour, I could have dredged them in flour and then sauteed them, but I think this way you get a much better taste. Okay, this is going to be boiled for about 5-6 minutes, that's all it takes. Okay, the flour has been toasted, as you can see. It's become browned. Going to mix it up a bit. Now that flour, of course, will also make the stew thicker in consistency. That's what makes a stew a stew. Now actually this is the same recipe for French beef bourguignon or beef stew, except I'm just substituting the oxtail. Oxtail is a very good cut to braise, and that's how we're going to make the stew. We're going to braise it. Braising is a method where you do not cover the meat entirely, but bring it up to the top anyway, as you'll see. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and add my reduced wine. This was reduced by 50%. It was 16 ounces, now it's 8 ounces. Going to add my homemade beef stock. And again, I will put this in the back of at the end of the video, so if you'd like to watch how I made that, you're welcome to it. Okay, I'm going to add just a little commercial beef broth, because I know some of this will evaporate and the beef stock that I made is very rich, so I wanted to cut it just a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to put it back on the burner and simmer it slowly for an hour and a half at least, and I'll check to see if it's done. Been cooking for an hour now, folks, and been checking it once in a while, make sure the fluid level is not going down. I'm going to go ahead and add some of these beautiful cremini mushrooms in there. And I also have some potato. This is a red potato. Has a nice thin skin to it. And the potato, the starch in the potato will actually make it a little bit thicker as well. If I feel it needs to be thicker, I can add a little more flour to it. We'll see how this turns out. Got another hour to go, folks. I am so hungry. Okay, my fellow foodies. After 2 hours, this is cooked. I just tasted it. I added a little more salt to it. The mushrooms and the potatoes are cooked through. And now what I'm going to do is take it off the hot plate and let it cool down a bit. And the grease will rise to the top, and I'll skim off that grease. And then I'm going to go ahead and plate it. Okay, while the oxtail stew is cooling down, I'm going to make a little garnish here. I have some organic garlic, and I have some organic parsley here. And what I'm going to do is combine a little garlic and a little parsley and put it in the food processor, and that will go on top of the stew. Okay, folks, your oxtail stew is served. You can see the consistency of the sauce. It's very thick. And that's what makes it a stew. And now I'm going to garnish that up a bit with my parsley and garlic garnish. And there you have it, folks. Not dietetic food, but it's delicious as hell. Thanks for watching.